I'm Shireen with Olive Street Design, and this post is a little different than most of my posts. I'm going to tell you about a situation, something that's happened to me, and my goal is to, one, tell you about the situation, and then also just see if there's anything else that I can do, and also hopefully help to keep this from happening to you too. I was out working in my garage a few weeks ago, and I got an alert on my phone, and it said, did you change your PIN? And it's a text message. Did you recently change your PIN? If you did, just ignore it. I had not. I was in the middle of refinishing a piece of furniture. I wasn't dealing with any banking situations. So I immediately said no. I did not change my PIN. And then I got a text message that said, please call the fraud department. So I stopped everything I was doing in the garage and I came inside and called my bank. I bank with USAA. I called them and I said, I got a fraud alert and I need to, let you know that no, this is not me. I'm not doing any banking. They proceeded to tell me that, one, my PIN had been changed, an ATM card had been used, and they had been to a Wells Fargo and had taken out $500. And I was shocked. Like, how does that even happen? Who has my PIN? And apparently they had changed my PIN. So that representative couldn't really give me much more information other than to start opening up a fraud claim, because I now feel completely violated. One, I asked, what location is it? Well, they gave me the location that is my city, because I was thinking maybe somebody just, some hacker got a bunch of numbers, something, they got lucky and hit one that actually was a real number and took money out. But no, it was a local bank. They proceeded to tell me that I had an ATM card that was expiring. Now, let me back up and say, I do not use ATM cards. If they were to look at my account, they'd see that I probably have never used the ATM card that was used in years. And every 5 years or so, that card expires. So they had sent me a new card. I didn't ask for it. It was just arriving. I wasn't expecting it. It seems that someone took my card. They probably stole it from the mail, is what we're thinking. Even though I have a community mailbox where we all have our own little mail slots, and they're all locked. Nothing looked awry. It didn't look like anybody had broken into anything, but they had changed my PIN. And again, this representative didn't have a lot of information. So he took my fraud claim and said that they would do a temporary credit on the money that was taken. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously they're going to do a fraud investigation and they'll determine that, I don't know, through cameras or something on the ATM that indeed was not me. I wasn't there. So I got the money back in my account. But I wanted to let others know that if indeed my mail was stolen, that they may also have had mail stolen. So I went on to Nextdoor and, I just posted a picture of the mailbox and I said, hey, I just want to let everybody know that it appears that I had mail stolen out of the box. And, they did use my ATM card. Of course, I got 1,000 questions about how in the world could they use your ATM card without the PIN. I'm like, yeah, that's my question too. Apparently they changed my PIN. I don't even know how that can happen without my personal information. So, I had over 90 comments and a lot of them said that they had also had mail stolen. They were kind of coming to the conclusion that it could be the mailman or that somebody had a master key to that box and was able to open it and have access to everybody's mail, and they could just go through and see, credit cards are easy to tell in the mail because they're in a unmarked envelope. They're rigid. You can tell when there's a credit card inside. And a bunch of people said that they had already complained to the postmaster that, nothing was being done. They'd complained to the post office, change the keys, do anything. And they said that they were just hitting dead ends everywhere. But, check your mail every day. I do get the notifications from USPS, so I know what's coming. But again, I'm not expecting a credit card or an ATM card. I specifically don't use ATM cards, as I said, because I always felt like, why carry something around that has access to my bank accounts? I am a hardworking woman. I budget. I am frugal. I pay attention to money. Debit cards to me just felt like something where somebody could get a hold of it, or, they have readers where they can scan your cards and things. So those cards are never even in my wallet. I keep it in the safe. So the fact that somebody was using a debit card to me was such a red flag. And I'm like, what? How? So I get the money back in my account and a couple weeks go by. I then get another notification in my banking app that says, call the fraud department. We have some questions regarding your account. So I'm like, oh no, what else? Or do they have answers for me? So I call and they really just ask me a whole bunch of questions again, really going over the same incident that had happened previously. But I was able to ask this representative a few more questions. And what I asked was, what bank were they at? Of course, they told me the local bank. And then they said they had actually gone from that bank to another bank and were trying to make another withdrawal. I said, I find this, well, one, completely violating. It's just a horrible thing to have someone steal something from you, and especially have access to all of your money and banking and steal money from you. It's just a horrible feeling. But I said, how in the world, one, can someone take money out of my account with a debit card? They don't have my PIN. And then how did they change my PIN? Well, they proceeded to tell me that they had tried to change it on the phone. They could tell that someone had called the automated and tried to change the PIN there, but not having the PIN, they couldn't change it. So they actually spoke to a representative, had my personal information, because they have my address and everything, of course, from stealing my mail, but they had my social security number. How in the world did someone get my social security number? And this question I asked, it's mind-boggling. These are things that we try to keep so secure. Apparently they said, well, through all of the data breaches and things, social securities are out there. If people really want to get a hold of them, they can. So great. So not only does this person have my ATM bank card, they now have my social security number, my address, my full name. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going through all the processes of now what? All of the things that these people could have access to, my, financial, everything. There's just so much fraud. You just don't know what lengths people will go to continue down this path of identity fraud. So I contacted all of the credit institutions where people would pull your credit, TransUnion, Equifax, and I had all of my credit history frozen. So nobody can access any of my credit history in case they were going to take out credit cards or bank accounts or other things using my identity. Those are all frozen now. The reason why this is coming back up again is because yesterday I received a letter from my bank, from USAA, saying that they have completed their investigation and they found no signs of fraud. So even though I never used this card, have never used that card in years, I certainly was not at the bank. If they were to pull footage or photos from the ATM, it absolutely was not me. My account of the situation and my statement, and I don't know what else they used, what criteria they used for this investigation, but they have determined that it isn't fraud, and they will now be debiting that money back out of my account again. So I'm appealing to all of you. What steps do I take now? I'm feeling like, should I file a police report? Should I contact Wells Fargo to see? I don't think they'll give me access to the photos just to prove that that wasn't me. I don't know how much access I can get to those types of things, but I don't know what else to do. I tried to call USAA. Well, their system was down. Nobody could tell me anything, but they said that their investigation has been concluded and it's closed. What would you do in this situation? Do I just eat the money? I hate that. I mean, somebody completely violated me. They stole from me, and now I have no recourse. One of the messages I want to just say to you, and this is something I tell my children, use credit cards whenever you can. Now, don't use credit cards as credit. Use credit cards and pay for everything, and then pay that money, pay it off. You could pay it off right then, but it is a much different situation when somebody uses your credit card to purchase something than when someone actually steals actual money from your account. So there it is. That's the situation. I had money stolen from me. At this point, have no other steps to take, and would love to know what you would do in this situation. And then just to help warn you about debit cards. It's hard to explain. It's like somebody broke into your house and took your personal things, but as a hardworking woman, stealing money from me is pretty devastating. So could have been worse. I understand it. So anything you guys have to add would be so appreciated. I love all of you, and thank you so much for all of your support. Thanks for watching and listening to this whole crazy story. it's just been kind of a roller coaster. So.